These are the Kurdish fighter in cages. Don't know when the video took place. Don't know the fate of them. But I am convinced that because of naivete, blundering, I'm not quite sure which, or intent, Iran is in fact going to get a nuke. And I believe that Obama believes that it's better than trying to stop them. How else do you explain how Israel's not even given details about what's going on? This hostile relationship that President Obama has with Benjamin Netanyahu, where one of Obama's aides referred to Benjamin Netanyahu as chicken bleep, except he didn't say bleep.
And a lot of controversy surrounding this White House summit. So is anything really getting done, or is it all political show? Congressman Ryan Zinke, a former Navy SEAL, joins us. Good evening, sir.
Great to be with you, Greta.
Your thoughts about this summit the president is holding is what?
Well, I think it's a slap in the face to Israel. I mean, the Speaker Boehner invites Prime Minister Netanyahu. This administration invites a terrorist sympathizer. I think the contrast is clear. Israel has been our partner in the war on terrorism. I'm speechless because, once again, it's a slap in the face of Israel, and certainly this is why our allies don't trust us and our enemies no longer fear us.
Well, it's sort of interesting that it appears to me that it's almost like this giant salon where everybody sort of sits around and talks about big picture, big ideas, but sort of ignoring the reality of now, where ISIS is beheading and killing. It's something like, it's almost like this is sort of a luxury to be able to sort of sit around and talk big picture when the house is burning down.
Well, let's talk about the real battle ahead. Air operations alone is not going to be effective against ISIS. It's going to take ground troops. Those ground troops are going to be U.S. ground troops. That means we have to embed into our coalition forces, which will include Sunni tribes, those that will fight with us, the Kurds, a centralized Iraqi government, and the footprint is going to be more than just a sprinkling of special forces, because if you put our guys in harm's way, you better support them with the right equipment, the right rules of engagement, the right medevac, the right quick reaction force. So the footprint is going to be, larger than this administration will concede.
Well, I'm certainly not going to be one who's going to be on the ground fighting for the country. I'm not going to be the boots on the ground, and so it's very easy for me to have sort of the position about sending boots on the ground. But the president's made very clear that he's not going to put boots on the ground there. Do you see him doing that at all? I mean, so far he has said no boots on the ground. I've heard so many military leaders say we can't do it from the air. But who's going to be the boots on the ground?
Well, we're going to have hearings, no doubt, on his request for authorization to use military force. There will be hearings. And what Congress is going to demand is a plan. If the mission is degrade and destroy ISIS, and all your senior military leaders, those who have experience, General Abizaid, General Conway, who I fought with in Fallujah, are all saying the same thing. Air operations alone will not be effective in completing your mission. Then who is advising the president? And so I think it is a serious discussion. We want a plan. I think he was right in asking Congress for authorization. And I think Congress has an obligation to make sure that before we put troops in, they're going to be supported with the right rules of engagement and the right force package to win decisively on the field of battle.
Congressman, thank you. Nice to see you, sir.
Despite all of this killing by ISIS, the White House still maintains that climate change is a bigger threat.
He said, and let me just read the second part of the question. It was asked if the media overstates the level of alarm people should have about terrorism as opposed to longer-term problems of climate change and epidemic disease. He says, absolutely. So let me just clarify. Is the president saying, as he seems to be implying here, that the threat of climate change is greater than the threat of terrorism?
I think, John, the point that the president is making is that there are many more people on an annual basis who have to confront the impact, the direct impact on their lives of climate change or on the spread of a disease than on terrorism.
So the answer is yes, the president thinks that climate change is a greater threat than terrorism.
I think the point that the president is making is that when you're talking about the direct daily impact of these kinds of challenges on the daily lives of Americans, particularly Americans living in this country, that direct impact is more, that more people are directly affected by those things than by terrorism.
So climate change is